Happy Halloween, curious listeners. Welcome back to Majors, Minors, and Maybes, a special eerie edition. You know me, I'm always on the trail of careers that hide in the shadows. And today, we're meeting one who could easily slip into a haunted house tour, but this time, it's the courtroom. I'm talking about the medical legal illustrator. In our very first episode, we animated cells, molecules, and human hearts with the incredible world of biomedical animation. But today, art meets anatomy in the service of justice. Picture this. The courtroom lights are dim, the jury leans in, and the case is tangled in medical jargon thicker than cobwebs. X-rays look like ghostly bones, surgical notes read like spells. Who steps in? The medical legal illustrator. These are the folks who can peel back the skin, sometimes literally, in their drawings, and show the truth of what happened. Their job? Turning injuries, surgeries, and trauma into images so clear, even the spookiest mysteries become solvable. But don't just take my word for it. Meet Annie Goff, a professional medical legal illustrator.
A medical legal illustrator is the bridge between the doctors and the attorneys. A medical legal illustrator works in catastrophic injury and medical malpractice litigation by connecting the doctor and the medicine and the complex human anatomy to the attorney and the litigation team who are not educated in anatomy and surgery. So the medical illustrator is the bridge between and simplifies all that complex anatomy and injury and medical terminology by creating a visual story that both the doctor and the attorney can use to teach the judge and the jury.
So, a day in the life of this courtroom artist might start with poring over medical records that look like hieroglyphics or scrolling through imaging scans that resemble ghosts. Then comes the craft, sketching fractured bones, mapping out torn ligaments, or recreating a surgery cut by cut. And yes, sometimes that means drawing wounds, blood vessels, and the jagged edges of trauma. Think of it as anatomy meets mystery novel illustrations with a jury as the audience. But here's the trick. Their drawings aren't horror for horror's sake. They are clarity. They are truth-telling. They are the flashlight in the haunted house of complicated medical evidence.
How do I balance the gore with the need for clarity? Um, the gore or the blood is important when it defines a specific injury. For instance, if there's bleeding in the ears, that is indicative of a basilar skull fracture, and that is a time that it would be very important to show blood. The rest of the time, usually bleeding and gore is very inflammatory. A picture of a broken leg sticking out of a bloody pair of jeans is very inflammatory, will not be allowed by the judge. And usually, the job of the medical illustrator is to get rid of the blood and the gore so you can actually see the anatomy. For instance, I was speaking with a judge, and she had just come out of a murder trial, and the victim had been bludgeoned to death with a brick to his face. The attorney had the autopsy photograph of the victim's face, and it was completely red and bloody and messy and disturbing. And the judge looked at the jury and was like, ugh, like, we really don't need to show this. What we need is a medical illustrator to sketch the man's face without all the blood. The judge, she wanted to see the skull under the skin. She said everyone in the courtroom needed something to clarify the various fractures, the individual lacerations, and quantify the number of strikes without all the gore. Even the medical examiner could not count the blows to the face with the photograph alone.
Medical legal illustrators are part detective, part storyteller, and part anatomist. They work at the crossroads of medicine, art, and law. And while their drawings may make you shiver, they serve the noble purpose of helping justice see the body clearly. From illustrating catastrophic injuries to surgical procedures and medical malpractice, to aiding in visualizing autopsies in wrongful death, all this is designed to help juries, judges, and lawyers actually see the science behind a case. It is truly the intersection of medicine, law, and anatomy. Did you know there are only about 2,000 medical illustrators in the world, and only about 20% of them illustrate in the legal field? Talk about a niche within a niche.
A surprising thing that I do every day as a medical legal illustrator that nobody really thinks I might be doing is I read the radiology scans. So almost daily, I am reviewing MRI scans and CTs and various imaging of injured clients. And I collaborate directly with the radiologists and surgeons and testifying doctors, quite often on Zoom. And we review, sometimes we go through the imaging together, and we are looking for evidence of injury and malpractice and negligence and other anatomical clues to what happened in someone's case that may have been missed in the medical record.
I love that. Where the biomedical animator works mostly behind the scenes of science, medicine, and education, the medical legal illustrator steps into the high stakes spotlight of the courtroom. Both roles demand science and a stylus, but their impact is felt in very different arenas. What's most incredible to me is how much trust is placed in these illustrations. They need to be accurate enough for surgeons to nod along, but clear enough for a juror who has never taken biology to understand. It's courtroom evidence wrapped in art. And here's the kicker. Both careers sprouted from the same root, the tradition of medical illustration, a discipline that has been around for centuries, blending art and science in ways that keep evolving as technology does. So, this Halloween, as you binge on candy and spooky movies, remember, out there in the real world, someone is sketching the stuff of true life medical mysteries. They may not wear a cape or carry a stake, but in the courtroom, their art can be downright haunting. That's your Halloween edition of Majors, Minors, and Maybes. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like us on Instagram at Majors, Minors, and Maybes. Until next time, stay curious and don't be afraid to peek into the shadows of the career world. After all, someone has to draw them.